All right. First off, this skateboard deck is pretty awesome. I don't want to bury the lead, but this video is also about cutting up some wheels. How much I like the idea of having these online events. The sponsors like Pantheon, who made this board, for supporting these events, and how awesome GoPros are. The video is mostly shot on an Insta360 Go 3S, and I like to play with little cameras, and I always get new ones. And I had this Go 3S for a while, and I hadn't used it for some time, so I got out and played with it this week. And I usually only use the GoPro for videos that I'd consider posting anywhere, and this video shows why. The stabilization is terrible. With the GoPro, this would have been nice and smooth and watchable, but with this thing, it is so bad. Instead of saying Insta360 sucks, I'll instead say GoPro is awesome. Now, the Pantheon Wiggler. My first reaction was, this thing is so big. I was expecting something the size, just from the look and the shape, I was expecting something the size of the BB Plus, and this is 6 or 7 inches longer and at least an inch wider. And so that's just massive platform, especially for me, because up until fairly recently, my favorite platform was Zenit's regular BB, and that one is pretty small. And I always thought it was pretty perfect because I have a real narrow stance, and there's nothing extra. Then not too long ago, in the last year, I got the loaded Tangent, the bigger deck, in the style of their Fathom setup that I really liked. And I kind of like having the extra room to move around on the Tangent compared to the Fathom, even though I still really like the Fathom deck. But that made me start to think that maybe a while after getting a Tangent, and I started to think about maybe longer platforms I do like. So I won a deck from the IDSA thing for people who do the online events. And instead of having a specific prize, the prize was to pick any deck from the Blem section of Pantheon's website. And I was kind of torn because I've been playing with a couple of Bossa top mount pumpers recently, and Pantheon have a top mount that is like 40 inches, and I have a Bossa that's a little bigger than that and a little smaller than that, and it would have been right in between the two, so that would be cool to play with. But they also have this platform deck, the Wiggler, that can be a platform deck or a short top mount, a really long platform deck or a short top mount. So I figured I would try that one, and it would give me 2 different ways to play with the same skateboard. So a few days later, it came in the mail, and here we are. I've had it out a few times, and so far I like it a lot. On the middle holes, it's flexy, but not as much as the BB Plus that was just way too much flex for me. The width also feels good, especially when I'm trying to use the paddle a little bit more. The width feels good because you can kind of move your feet a little more side by side. It looks cool. The wood grain on the bottom is cool. Simple graphic. I like that. I like the inset wheel wells, even though I'm not using them in the platform configuration. But I've changed wheels in this like 3 times already, and it's very nice to have a little pocket that I can set my nuts and bearings in, and when I'm taking things apart and putting them together. So that's not what they're for, but they turn out to be very nice for that. So now all I need is more time to play with it. I think it's really cool that the IDSA puts on these events, and it's really cool that Pantheon added the prize this year, and Loaded added a prize last year that I won. And I really like that these and the other companies support the events. Although I do feel a little bad for winning prizes 2 years in a row, and I feel like I need to tell them next year to take my name out of the hat. So even though it would be very unlikely, I would feel terrible if I won 3 years in a row and someone else didn't get a chance to win. But lastly, maybe lastly, the wheels I have on here in this stupid shaky video are dad bods that I cut probably 3/8 off of the fat side, and I think they're good like this. I did about maybe a month ago, and I've used them a bunch of short rides, and so far they're like dad bods but a little bit lighter, and also easier to clear brackets with narrower trucks because they're, if I flip them so that the part I cut off is inside, it gives me just a touch more clearance. It's pretty good. The first set I did was super easy and went really well. I made the cuts, rubbed them on the concrete to smooth them out, and they turned out pretty nice, nicer than I expected the first set to do. And I was very happy with that, and I rode them for a couple weeks, and I got overconfident. I'm like, I'm going to try to take off even more. And I tried to do a second set, and I was like on the second wheel, and I took a big-ass chunk out of my thumb. And I had to tape it closed for a few days. It's been like 2 weeks, and you can still see it, but it's pretty well healed. That doesn't matter. But the point is, I think I like thin dad bods. And lastly, I have bullet points. Lastly, I'm trying to make some fast and fun playlists for a big ride coming up. And I just keep adding the Ramones and the Queers. So I need some variety. So if you watch this far, can someone comment a couple of fast songs or two, if you don't mind? And if sometimes there's an Australian guy that comments, if you hear this, what other bands from where you are like the Dune Rats? Because I really like them lately. All right, have fun and be careful out there. Oh yeah, and then I had to put a new outfit on it and make it look like my skateboard.